And welcome back to Hour 2 of Through the Mirror with Larry Sinclair. And before I introduce the guest for this hour, I would again like to thank Julio Noel Raseo for partnering with me on this incredible journey over the last 9 months and hosting on Tuesdays and Thursdays in the first hour. I want you to think about something. Think about what's the first thing we look for after a tornado hits somewhere in this country. What's one of the prime staples that we go and stock up on in advance of a hurricane? I want you to think real quick how easy it is for you to get up from where you're sitting right now, walk into any room in your home that has a sink and turn a faucet on and pour a glass of water and drink from it and know that it's safe and clean and that you're not going to die from it tomorrow. The guest for this hour are two extraordinary individuals that I've come in contact with through Foster Freeze, who not only founded Water Missions International out of their own pocket, but who have worked diligently and tirelessly since the founding of Water Missions International as unpaid volunteers, basically. And what they do, I'm going to let them tell you. I'd like you to welcome to the program George and Molly Greene from Water Missions International.
Hello, Larry. Thank you.
Hey, Larry. Good to
Hello,
hear.
Miss Greene. Well, look, I called you yesterday and talked to you. Or was it Wednesday? I can't remember now at this point. I've been going so crazy with this. But I got the picture book that Foster sent, and I talked about it last night in the last half hour. Tell our listeners, who are you? What did you do in your lives before Water Missions, and what made you found this organization?
Well, we are pretty ordinary people, Larry, just like the radio audience. We were working for ourselves. We started an environmental engineering and analytical testing laboratory in 1982 and grew it for many years. The Lord blessed it, and we found we were introduced to the global water issues when Hurricane Mitch hit Central America in 1998, and that was our first time to see what a huge need safe water is around the world.
So
Now,
I'll jump in. Molly mentioned that we started this environmental consulting business in the early 80s. We started it because we felt like that was what the Lord wanted us to do with our lives. And at that business, we had a wonderful culture in that business and just a spirit of giving back to the community. So when Mitch hit Central America and we learned that 11,000 people had lost their lives, we said we need to do something to respond. The entire company responded. And that was the genesis of what became Water Missions International. I think the Lord used that experience to open our eyes to the conditions that almost 20% of the world's population lives in, and that is lack of access to safe water, water that you can drink without getting sick. And almost twice that number lack access to adequate sanitation. And as a result of that, what we learned over the 1998 and 99 is that it has an enormous toll on people's lives. The estimate is that a child dies under the age of 5 years old. A child dies every 20 seconds. And a couple of other statistics, 25,000 people die every single day from a waterborne disease. Half of the world's hospital beds are occupied by a person with a waterborne disease. And when we learned that, we thought, this shouldn't be. We know we know, we in the developed world know how to treat water so that it's safe to drink. There's no reason in the world why anyone in the world should not have access to safe water. So that became a focus for us. And in 2001, we realized in order to really focus on that issue, we needed to sell the environmental company and start Water Missions International. So that's how it got started.
Okay. Now, Water Missions International, if I understand it correctly, you, George, and Molly have a system that was developed through your environmental testing company that is somewhat of a portable setup that you can actually take into these villages and towns and areas and actually help to clean and purify the water supply that they have. Is that correct?
Yeah, Larry, what you're referring to is a patented piece of equipment that we call the living water treatment system, and that is correct. We did develop that system. But Water Missions really is more than just a provider of a piece of equipment. We use that piece of equipment in probably 75% of our projects, but what we are really is a Christian engineering ministry. So as an engineering ministry, what we're doing is finding out what the problem is and then designing the most cost-effective solution. And as I said, that living water treatment system finds its application it always in disaster response. It is rapidly deployed. It will provide water for about 3,000 people. It can run on solar power, solar energy. It can run 24 hours a day if you have solar panels and a generator. So it's ideal for disaster response. But the big impact really is in providing sustainable access to people in communities so that they're going to have water for the rest of their lives.
George, Molly, what do we need to do to get people to understand that we really do have a luxury? We're blessed in this country because we can get up and walk to the kitchen right now and turn on the faucet and draw a glass of water that we can drink. But even now in 2012, we still have a large sector of the world's population that cannot do that. And in some cases can't even get access to clean water without walking 3 or 4 or 5 miles.
Well, that's true. And we are truly blessed because we take it for granted that, we've all grown up with water that we could drink straight from the tap. And that's wonderful. And one of our board members has a saying in their house that says, "We're blessed to be a blessing." Well, what we need to do, I think, is what we're doing right now: make more people aware that what we have in access to water is not the norm in developing countries. The norm is just what you described: women and children primarily walking, spending most of the day, truthfully, to get water for their family.
I was telling Molly when I talked to her on the phone, I understand what you're doing, and I also understand the need for it. I lived in Mexico for a period of time, and I think I tried to remind people yesterday that if we just look south of the border, you will find large communities that don't even have the basic infrastructure for water, much less a water supply line. Mexico probably spends, most of their residents probably spend more money on bottled water than they do on food. And this should not be the case anywhere in this world at this time. We should all have access to clean, safe drinking water.
Larry, we are certainly in agreement with that. And I think part of the solution, which is what we're part of, providing solutions, is just what you're doing right now. When people become aware that so many folks don't have the clean drinking water that we have and do not have any sanitation facilities. It's such a shock to them that they do want to help. And I think this is what Foster and Lynn are trying to promote, is to make people aware with this little book, Water for a Thirsty World. You just thumb through it and you're in a state of shock, seeing the conditions that the majority of the people in these developing countries live in.
You know, go ahead.
Larry, I was just going to say, Molly mentioned Foster and Lynn Freeze, and you've talked with Foster on your show, and there's been some talk about his idea of left, right, forward march, and the idea that water could be an instrument that we could all agree on. And I think he's absolutely right. Our experience in water missions is we're working in areas around the world where the disagreements go far beyond the disagreements that we have in this country. We're one of our largest programs is in Indonesia, the world's most populated Muslim country.
Right.
But we're working in these situations because everybody recognizes the need for safe water and everybody's willing to work together.
George, Molly, hold on. We're coming up on commercial break. When we come back, we're going to touch on Foster's promotion of Water Missions International as being that bridge to bring people who differ from a political perspective into working together for solutions for the common good. You're listening to Through the Mirror with Larry Sinclair on the Rense Radio Network. We're speaking with Water Missions International's co-founders Molly and George Greene. We will be right back.
Scientists in England have succeeded in stabilizing the time-honored substance in garlic that destroys harmful bacteria, viruses, molds, yeast, and fungus. This all-natural microbe killer is called Allicin C, and it's now available to you in 100% vegetarian capsules only on the New Earth page at Rense.com. This powerful broad-spectrum antimicrobial agent is harmless to friendly bacteria and has been concentrated to equal an astonishing 35 cloves of garlic in each vegetarian capsule. Think about it. The antibacterial, antiviral strength of 35 odorless cloves of garlic in just one capsule. Allicin C is so effective it even destroys superbug MRSA in test after test. Allicin C is truly an incredible advance in natural medicine, and with the threats of bacterial and viral diseases and pandemics growing, no home should be without it. Learn more and order Allicin C on the New Earth page at Rense.com.
Remember this name, Carnivora. That's CARNIVORA.com. What if I told you that this 100% pure and natural product was delivered directly to the White House at President Reagan's personal request at a time when only the president was able to obtain it? Reagan used this amazing product, Carnivora, successfully, a product derived only from nature that has the intelligence to instinctively attack abnormal cells only without harming a single normal cell, and the power to actually wake up critical immune cells from dormancy to attack foreign invaders that don't belong in our bodies. Carnivora is now obtainable by anyone who wants to get healthy and stay that way. Call 1-866-VENUS-FLY and protect yourself with 17 naturally occurring compounds that will unleash powerful immune defense. That's 1-866-VENUS-FLY. Call 1-866-VENUS-FLY and get your Carnivora today. Visit carnivora.com.
Known worldwide as the most consistently fascinating, informative, and unique program on radio, the Jeff Rense program can be yours to listen to anytime, anywhere, whenever you want to hear it. For pennies a day, our subscribers can download any of Jeff's thousands of programs featuring a treasury of newsmakers, researchers, eyewitnesses, and incredible subjects, all in MP3 commercial-free, crystal-clear 56-bit digital sound, and take these often unforgettable programs with them wherever they go. As a subscriber, you can also listen live at airtime, online, anywhere in the world, or browse through our archives of over 10,000 hours of legendary broadcasts. Subscribe now by taking the link at the top of Rense.com. rents.com and enrich your mind with the most unique panorama of vital information and the best independent, honest journalism in radio. Look for the Subscribe Now link on rents.com and give yourself the knowledge you need for these unprecedented times.
From Water Missions International. And before we went to commercial, George, you had brought up the fact that Foster and Lynn Freeze, and Foster through his left, right, forward march, thought that bringing clean, safe water to those who don't have access to it could be a bridge at bringing people who have opposing viewpoints together to working together for the common good and growing from that culmination of working together for Water Missions International into seeking solutions for even more pressing and difficult differences here in the country. I not only think it's a good idea, I've actually taken Foster's advice, and as of today, I have challenged every member. I live in an age-qualified community here in the Daytona Beach area. So what we've done is we've put out a little flyer, and we've challenged every resident in this community to agree to contribute a minimum of $1 to Water Missions International. And I've actually got the envelope here that Foster included with the picture book and the letter, and it's already started collecting its $1 per resident. Are you guys there? All right, sounds like I've got some problems here. Hang on a second. Do we still have Molly and George on the phone? Brett? Give us a second. All right, we're going to try to get them back on the line. And while we do that, I want to challenge everybody. Look, I understand that times are rough. And that's primarily why I challenged all the residents here at Lighthouse Point into contributing $1 apiece. And as I said last night, I know that I can work with people who might have opposing viewpoints from a political perspective because I live amongst people who have opposing political viewpoints, and yet we still work together to help each other out. So I challenge all of our listeners to do exactly what Foster had suggested in the letter and what he had suggested on Monday night's program, which is let's use water and bringing water to those who don't have access to basic, clean, safe water. Let's help do that. And let's help Water Missions International do that. I want you to go to watermissions.org, please, because it's the best source of information for this organization. You can look at their entire board of directors. You can read the history. And my listeners know that I have the utmost respect for Foster Freeze. He's a man that stands by what he says, and he really does try to live his life the way he says that he wants to live it. All right. It sounds like I've got Molly and George back on the phone.
Back. Sorry.
So sorry.
Had a disconnect.
That's all right. I hope you could at least hear what I was telling you.
We could hear you.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about what you were saying before we went to the commercial about Foster suggesting that we use water, clean, safe drinking water, as a bridge to bring people to working together for the common good. I think it's an excellent idea. And I think you just showed a good example, the fact that you guys work in the largest Muslim populated country in the world, in Indonesia. So if you guys can work in areas that definitely have differences with the Christian faith to bring the common good of safe drinking water, then we can definitely bring ourselves to work together and put our differences aside as far as being able to work for the common good.
We are obviously biased in that regard, Larry, but the issue here is that I think the need for water is something that is unarguable. Everybody would agree that that everyone needs water, and it's such a cost-effective, simple thing to do. There's no controversy involved in getting involved in a project that saves lives immediately by providing access to safe water. So regardless of your political opinions, it seems to me that that's something we can all work together. In fact, I will tell you that we know that we have many donors around the country who don't even share our faith and don't share our political opinions, but agree with us on the need for safe water, and for that reason join hands with us in that effort. So I think Foster's on to a great idea.
Well, I think he is too, and the fact that he must have known that I was going to go for this, because I started thinking last night. I had him on Monday evening. The book was sent to me by priority mail from Phoenix, which means it had to have had at least 2 days of delivery time. So that would have been Monday. He would have put this thing in the mail Monday before he ever came on the program. Now that's a gentleman that seems to know his friends. Okay, guys, we're coming up on a commercial, and I'm sorry about that. This segment's quite short. Don't hang up on us. When we come back, we're going to talk more about Water Missions International, and you guys have got some very interesting events that are coming up in the next 3 months that will help people understand just how important water really is. You're listening to Through the Mirror with Larry Sinclair on the Rense Radio Network. We are speaking with George and Molly Greene from Water Missions International. Please, watermissions.org. Help out today. We'll be right back. The stars were by my side. I heard Lady lost her crown. As I was searching for my country at the lost and found, fell in love at first sight, messing around. She had the cutest little nose against the window at the door he found. I'm American made.
It's a real pleasure to introduce you to permaculture, a new concept that can allow all of us to survive these times of crisis, economically and with food, water, and energy in a healthy and abundant fashion. How? By establishing the amazing permaculture food forests. With one simple, fun, fascinating step-by-step guide, you can become completely confident about survival with permaculture. Food forests and permaculture are productive, life-saving technologies for any climate in both urban and rural settings. Jeff Lawton is the world's foremost permaculture authority, teacher, designer, and consultant. Jeff has successfully worked in many countries, cultures, and different climates, helping people survive with permaculture. Come and enjoy an exclusive aerial guided video tour with Jeff of his water harvesting swales, dams, and food forests. Go to jefflawton.org to view this fascinating free video on how to survive and prosper with permaculture. That's GEOFFLAWTON.org. American Masters Painting, a family-owned and operated business beautifying homes in Northern Virginia for over 30 years. American Masters craftsmen serve all of your painting, staining, and wood refinishing needs. American Masters not only guarantees to deliver satisfying results, they also promise a positive, rewarding, and personalized experience to your complete satisfaction. American Masters Painting is recognized for its flawless expertise in all custom interior and exterior projects. For a free and timely estimate, contact American Masters Painting toll-free at 888-760-7760 or visit AmericanMastersPainting.com. And remember, when you're thinking American Masters Painting, you're thinking one family serving another, one project at a time. American Masters Painting is a proud sponsor of Through the Mirror with Larry Sinclair on the Rents Radio Network.
You're listening to the Rents Radio Network, coast to coast on the Galaxy 19 KU band satellite, nationwide and worldwide on the Internet, and of course, on Rents.com.
Are chemtrail geoengineering programs changing our weather and destroying our environment? Why in the world are they spraying?
They want to create a storm in the southeast, then they'll start engineering out over the North Pacific. That's where the trailies will be.
Find out why critics are calling Why in the World Are They Spraying the most important film that is revolutionizing the environmental movement.
It's just going to get worse until the point where we're not going to be able to grow anything at all unless it's a Monsanto genetically modified, abiotic stress resistant seed.
Why in the world are they spraying? New international version with languages available from around the world. For 1 month, Rents listeners receive free shipping. Go to the banner on the front of the Rents website and click on the link for more info.
It's all about money, and weather is another form of commoditizing, a way the Central Command Group can commoditize another form of our life.
Why in the world are they spraying?
And if you control the weather, you're going to control the planet. It's that simple.
Will 2012 bring the Mayan end of world or the global banking collapse? In 2007, one man, Mike Dillard, made 5 predictions which forecasted the 2008 economic crisis and the pending Eurozone collapse. This week, Mike unleashes 3 brand new, shocking, must-watch videos with predictions for the coming year. www.the3videos.com. Over the past year, Mike Dillard has helped thousands of ordinary people create and recover wealth by tapping into the black box investing strategies the big banks don't want you to know about. www.the3videos.com. As the European banking system implodes and governments collapse at breakneck speeds, the next 12 months will be the most anticipated and important months in modern human history. This will make 2008 look like a walk in the park. Everyone will be affected. Go to www.the3videos.com now. Learn how to prepare your family and prosper during the global financial collapse.
You're my soldier boy, a man amongst men. You're my soldier boy.
And we are back. We're speaking with George and Molly Greene from Water Missions International. And George, Molly, I have a question. What could you do if every American stopped right now and didn't buy that bottle of water that they walked into the 7-Eleven and they were going to pay $1.49 for, and actually sent that $1.49 to Water Missions International?
That's an awesome thought. Let me tell you that it cost about $10 per person to provide water for that person for a lifetime. So you're more in tune on the actual population of the U.S. than I am, but take that population and divide it by 10, and that's the number of people that could be provided access to water in a very short period of time. And so I would say, what would happen if they did that, if everybody in this country did that once a month? Larry, the problem would soon be non-existent.
I tend to agree with you. And I've already told Molly, and I know that she's seen it, Foster's aware that we've actually put up a new graphic for the Freeze Family Foundation $1 Million Challenge with Water Missions International in our header, and that will stay there. And for those listeners who want to get more information on how to contribute, you can actually click the graphic in the left upper corner of our header at sinclairnews.net and go directly to the contribution page on Water Missions International's website and contribute. Like I said before, I realized that we had dropped the call before the last break. I've got the residents in my community now who are, what we're doing is we're calling on everybody that lives in this community, and I'm trying to think. I think there's about 200 residents within this particular community where we've called on every one of them to contribute at least $1 to Water Missions International, and we've got the office here at Lighthouse Point that is serving as a central collection. And I've also put up on the notice that anyone who wants to contribute more than that, they can actually do so by writing the checks payable to Water Missions International. And we will forward all of this to you, most likely at the beginning of the year, because I'm not going to stop until I've knocked on every single door in this community.
Way to go, Larry. And I think what we owe you in return is some feedback on what happens to that money. And I think what you're showing there is the power of a lot of people doing a little bit together. The impact can be enormous. And I think we can come back to you and show you projects that are being implemented as a result of the doors that you're knocking on, and I think you'll just be amazed at the results.
Well, let's talk about those projects, because in talking with Molly, you guys have some big things coming up in the next, in about 3 months. I believe it's on March 21st and 22nd of 2013. Is that about right, Ms. Greene?
That's close, Larry, and I hope you're going to call me Molly, not Mrs.
Okay.
March 22nd every year is designated as World Water Day. And around that, the closest time frame around March 22nd, which is the first Saturday near that, is when Water Missions International holds its annual Walk for Water. We will be holding that Walk for Water in Charleston, South Carolina on March 23rd, 2013. And we will have thousands of people coming from the Charleston area, but also across the U.S. and from foreign countries. We have wonderful Kenyan Maasai warriors who help lead the walk. We walk about 3.5 miles. Halfway through the walk, we carry buckets with us. We start off with an empty bucket, which is about 2 gallons of water, and then halfway through the walk, we fill the bucket up with dirty water just to give a real indication of what our neighbors around the world are taking and picking up, fetching, they call it, fetching the water. We walk the about 2 miles back, and the water goes into the living water treatment system that's being powered by the sun, the solar-powered system, and gets cleaned up right there in front of your eyes. And it is an incredible experience for people to really get a feel for what it's like. Larry, water weighs 8 pounds a gallon. And it's usually these little kids and women who are walking these miles carrying up to 40 pounds of water. And
see, that right.
We can do it. We can't carry a pound for any distance.
I was just fixing to say, Molly, that right there scares me, because I have a hard enough time just picking up a case of water at Walmart and putting it in the shopping cart. But look, hold tight. We're coming up on the last commercial break. For those of you who are interested in attending the World Water Day events in Charleston with Water Missions International, go to watermissions.org, send them an email, get the information. I am going to do everything in my power to be there and at least videotape it and help promote this as much as we possibly can. I will try to do the walk, provided, of course, that it's not going over the Cooper River Bridge, but we'll talk about that when we come back. We're talking with Molly and George Greene, co-founders of Water Missions International. We'll be right back.
Heart-related health problems affect millions of people each year. Maybe you're one of the many who suffer from issues related to angina pain, high blood pressure, congestive heart failure, unbalanced cholesterol, irregular heartbeat, or clogged arteries. There is a solution that doesn't involve expensive prescription drugs that only mask the problem and leave you with horrible side effects. If you are ready to live your life free of sickness, pain, and fear, live your life with increased vitality, energy, and youthfulness, and experience your body healing itself, then you're ready for Heart and Body Extract from Healthy Hearts Club. Heart and Body Extract has a 23-year proven track record of using certified organic herbs that make up an excellent formula to balance and support the heart and circulatory system. In as little as 2 weeks, you can feel amazing results when your 2-month supply of Heart and Body Extract today. Call 1-866-295-5305 or go to hbextract.com.
If you're taking 1, 2, 5, or more nutritional supplements, please stop. Simplify your supplementation with Bio Superfood, the most advanced nutritional whole food supplement you can buy. Men, women, children, even Olympic athletes the world over have discovered Bio Superfood from BioAge.com. And now take just one nutritional supplement instead of many. The Bio Superfood formulas are whole food products composed with 4 of the most nutrient-dense algae found on Earth. Bio Superfood for the brain helps with focus, memory, clarity, and mood. If you can increase brain health, the rest of the body is a no-brainer. Bio Superfood has 0 toxicity and is safe for you and your family. Learn more and order your Bio Superfood formulas at BioAge.com, spelled BIOAGE.com, BioAge.com, or call 877-288-9116. That's 877-288-9116. BioAge, the age of advanced organics.
Just think, the next time you walk into 7-Eleven or the corner gas station and you pick up that bottle of Aquafina or whatever brand bottled water it is, think about the fact that there are 884 million people today that have to walk miles upon miles to fetch water that doesn't even come close to being that clean and safe. And that's why we've asked George and Molly Greene from Water Missions International to be on this program tonight, because that $1.49 that you're spending at 7-Eleven can go a long way to helping Water Missions International provide a sustainable water supply which is clean and safe for people around the world. Molly, George, you guys put in an awful lot of time in this, and I've taken the time to look on your website, and I noticed, I'm assuming, that you actually have a son that's also named George that's very much a part of this organization.
You know, remember, Larry, we're from the South, so not only do we have a son named George, we have a grandson named George. It's just easier. It makes naming kids a lot easier when you stick with a family name. Son George does work at Water Missions. He runs the international programs. So he has 3 senior engineers here in Charleston who report directly to him, and they actually are the ones who are coordinating the work in our 9-country programs. And from those 9-country programs, water projects are either currently underway or have been done in 49 countries around the world.
Now, you guys are in Asia, you're in South America, you're in Africa. I mean, you basically are in just about every geographic region of the world.
Yes, we are. Our primary focus, the bottom line is, if somebody comes to us and says, you know, I was in country so-and-so and in a little village, and I noted that they need water and the kids are dying, and I'd like to help. Can you help? Our answer is yes, we can help. But our primary focus is in 9 countries, excuse me, where we have indigenous staff on the ground, because that's where the needs are greatest and that's where we can be most cost effective. So those countries, you mentioned Mexico. We have a country program in Mexico, and Belize and Honduras, Haiti and Peru in the Western Hemisphere, and then in Africa, Uganda, Kenya, and Malawi. And we're actually starting up a program this year in Tanzania, and then in Asia, a large program in Indonesia. And from Indonesia, our staff in Indonesia is actually doing projects in China, Cambodia, Vietnam, Burma. So yeah, these people, you know, the real heroes in this are our staff in these country programs. They work under very tough circumstances, and they're wonderful people, very dedicated.
Would it be fair to say that you guys actually work for long-term, sustainable, clean water supplies in the areas in which you provide service, as opposed to, you know, this quick one-time airlift drop of bottled water and then leave? I mean, you guys are actually there on the ground consistently, day in, day out, making sure that these people in these areas have a sustainable, clean, and safe water supply and sanitation system. Is that correct?
And sustainable is the key word there, and that is absolutely correct. We're not in this to get people a bottle of water and then leave. We're in this to make sure that these people that we're helping are going to have water for the rest of their lives, and not just them, but for generations to come. And to do this, obviously we can't do this on our own, so we form strategic partnerships with other organizations and corporations. You mentioned getting systems into these countries. FedEx is a wonderful strategic partner. Foster and Lynn are strategic partners. Molly, you wanted to mention it.
Well, one of the things I wanted to say about the relationship with FedEx and the bottled water issue, anytime a natural disaster hits, everyone wants to send bottled water. In the U.S., that can make sense because our systems can be put, not ours, our water treatment systems in the United States come back and get up and running pretty quickly. But what we find in these developing countries, they didn't have clean water before. So after Katrina, FedEx, we got connected with FedEx really before Katrina, but they said, we want to work closely with you all because bottled water is heavy to transport. You drink it and it's gone. You have nothing but the plastic containers, and we understand that your equipment takes existing water sources and cleans it up and can continually provide safe, clean water. So that was our connection early on as Water Missions began with FedEx, and they have been an incredible organization that has donated so much in-kind transportation of water systems, especially during disaster areas.
Who else are some of your strategic partners?
Well, as George said, Lynn and Foster Freeze have got to be number one. They have been wonderful participants over the years. We are working closely with Pentair Foundation and the Pentair Corporation. They're out of Minneapolis.
Pentair is a company that probably people don't know because, but probably everybody in the United States is using their products. They make pumps and various water treatment equipment for domestic residential use, but they market it under other names. So Pentair funded a wonderful project in Honduras that ended up providing water to almost 300,000 people, water and sanitation. Grundfos Pumps is the world's largest manufacturer of pumps. They're a Danish company, a wonderful strategic partner. Solar World is a German company that makes solar panels. In fact, we're moving into a new facility now in Charleston. Solar World is donating the solar panels to make that a green building. Of course, these companies are providing us their products at steeply discounted prices, and they allow us to make those products, pumps and solar panels, available to other nonprofit organizations, so we increase capacity by doing that. George Fisher is a Swiss company that makes piping materials, also a strategic partner. Parker Hannafin is a large company headquartered in California that makes water treatment equipment, a new strategic partner. Hach Company, H-A-C-H, makes water quality test equipment. Of course, we knew them back in the environmental days, but they've also come along and have become a wonderful strategic partner for us. So,
go ahead.
No, I was just saying, I think that's a very fundamental component of our strategy to develop these strategic partnerships because it expands the capacity dramatically.
Right. I was going to say that what you just described, you and Molly just described, should also make assisting Water Missions International even more attractive to those who are concerned about environmental issues or making green technology, because it seems to me that Water Missions International uses quite a bit of green technology in establishing these sustainable water supplies around the world.
Yeah, that's a good point, Larry. One of the reasons people in developing countries who lack access to water are captured in this extreme poverty cycle is because they have no margin. So they go to a water source that's contaminated, and if they drink that water, they're going to get sick, so they start to incur huge medical burdens. Or if they want to avoid that, then they cut trees down so they can boil the water. So by putting in a solar-powered water system, we do two things. One, we help the people protect the environment by preserving the natural resources, and we keep them healthy so they don't spend all their money on medicines and health care.
I know that you guys have a Twitter and a Facebook page. Is that correct?
That is correct, and Molly's jumping for it right now.
I was going to say, please tell our listeners how they can find you on Twitter, Facebook, and I've already told them watermissions.org, and that is missions plural.org will take you to the website. Molly, tell them how they can find you on Twitter and Facebook.
Oh, my goodness. Water Missions at Water Missions might be it. This is terrible that I can't tell you. I'm pretty sure it's Water Missions at Water Missions is the Twitter account.
I think the best thing is to go to the website and it's the Twitter account and Facebook. It's all right there, right up on the front page of the website.
Well, I can help here. I can tell you that she is correct. At Water Missions, plural, is your Twitter feed. And the reason I know that is because I just retweeted one of your tweets earlier. And I apologize. I have not gotten the Facebook link up. But, guys, I want to thank you for coming on the program. Molly, thank you so much for agreeing to talk about Water Missions International. And I will stay in touch with both of you throughout this coming new year.
Larry, you're wonderful. Thanks for the opportunity to talk.
What a blessing.
Not a problem. You guys have a very Merry Christmas.
Same to you.
God bless.
God bless. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And that brings us to the end of another Through the Mirror with Larry Sinclair on the Rense Radio Network. Please join us tomorrow. Tomorrow will be our last broadcast. And we will go down memory lane over some of our most impressive and exciting moments of being able to come into your home and into your life 5 nights a week for the last 9+ months. Again, a sincere thank you to Jeff Rense, Rense Radio Network, Global Star Satellite Communications, and Global Star Communications. And Brett, you rock, Buster. I'll see you here tomorrow night. Good night.
It was a left, took integrity, got hit in the jaw. From the shot, heard around the world he never saw. Coming from a shout score. Looks like I picked another bloody loser. Betting on the media will do that to ya. Are you a contender? Hell yeah. Or just a pretender? You gotta be the man. Stand up and defend. Welcome to the main event. Here we go.
Oxygen. It's nature's oldest therapy and plays an essential role in destroying viruses, bacteria, mold, yeast, and fungus, and keeping the human body healthy and strong. Now, you can give your body and your immune system a mega boost of disease-fighting oxygen with all-natural Oxy-C. With so many people now leading a sedentary indoor lifestyle, most are in a chronic state of oxygen deprivation, which sets up a perfect environment for disease, general fatigue, and a host of other symptoms. Oxy-C is yours in simple, convenient capsules. Nothing to mix, nothing to hassle with. Take it with juice or water anytime. Feel a cold or flu approaching? Have no energy or spark anymore? Try all-natural Oxy-C and prepare to be amazed. Oxy-C is only available from New Earth Health Solutions at Rense.com. Look for the New Earth banner at Rense.com.
Hi, this is Jeff Rense. Royal Raymond Rife was without question the most gifted medical scientific genius of our age. He discovered that most disease-related microbes die quickly when exposed to their own specialized resonant radio frequencies. The BCX 411 Rife-type frequency instrument has received the highest praise on several continents for its precision, simplicity of operation, and successful research experiment. The BCX, with its comprehensive manual, allows you to select the frequencies you wish to experiment with for the length of time you want to run them. The BCX handheld plasma ray tubes and RF radio carrier